I tell you with absolute certainty that your inner speech, that which you tell yourself when no one else is listening, is molding your world in ways you cannot begin to imagine. These words spoken in the quiet of your mind are more powerful than any force in the visible world. They are the unseen architects of your destiny. For just 24 hours, I challenge you to become aware of your inner conversation. Listen to what you are telling yourself from moment to moment. Are you speaking of limitation? Are you rehearsing your failures? Are you constantly affirming illness, lack, or impossibility? If so, you are using the creative power of your word against yourself. Instead, for 24 hours, speak to yourself only in terms of the ideal you wish to embody. Speak from the end as though what you desire is already an accomplished fact. This is the secret of manifestation that has been veiled in mystical language throughout the ages. When you awaken in the morning, let your first thought be, I am blessed beyond measure. Everything I desire is already mine. Feel the truth of these words. Let them sink into your consciousness like rain into parched soil. Your mind is that soil, and your words are the seeds from which your future will grow. As you prepare for your day, continue this transformed inner conversation. If you desire financial abundance, do not say to yourself, I hope someday I will have enough. Instead, declare with feeling, I am now abundantly supplied. Money flows to me effortlessly from expected and unexpected sources. Do not concern yourself with the how. Your work is not to determine the means, but to establish the end in your consciousness. If you seek improved health, cease speaking of your body in terms of its limitations or ailments. For 24 hours, speak to yourself as though you are vibrantly healthy. I am filled with energy. My body is strong, resilient, and functions in perfect harmony. The creative power within you doesn't analyze whether your statements align with physical evidence. It simply accepts what you decree and proceeds to bring it into manifestation. In your relationships, transform how you speak to yourself about others. If there is someone with whom you experience conflict, change your inner conversation about them. Instead of rehearsing grievances, speak to yourself of that person as though they already embody the qualities you wish to experience. They are thoughtful and understanding. Our communication is clear and harmonious. Remember, the outer conversation merely reflects what has already been established in your inner conversation. In your career or vocation, speak to yourselves as though you already occupy the position you desire, possess the skills you seek, or have achieved the recognition you yearn for. I am excelling in my work. My contributions are valued and rewarded. I am fulfilling my purpose through my daily activities. Now, I must emphasize that this is not positive thinking as it is commonly understood. This is far more profound. You are not trying to convince yourself of something against evidence. Rather, you are exercising your divine prerogative to choose the consciousness from which you operate. You are selecting the state of being from which your reality will unfold. Your consciousness is the only reality. The world you experience is simply consciousness objectified. Change your consciousness, your inner talking, and you must change your world. This is law. For 24 hours, refuse to speak to yourself of problems. There are no problems apart from your conviction that they exist. What appears as a problem is merely a situation awaiting your new conception of it. Speak to yourself from the consciousness of the solution already achieved, and watch as the so-called problem dissolves before your eyes. I recall a woman who attended my lecture some years ago. She had been struggling with chronic illness for nearly a decade. After hearing these principles, she decided to change her inner conversation for just one day. Instead of her habitual thoughts of I am sick, I will never recover, no treatment shame, she began to speak to herself as though she were already whole. I am perfectly well. My body knows how to heal itself. I am stronger each day. She reported that by midday she experienced a noticeable shift in her energy. By evening, symptoms that had plagued her for years had diminished significantly. Within a week of maintaining this new inner conversation, she was able to resume activities she had abandoned years before. Her physicians were baffled, but she understood the principle at work. She had changed her inner world, and thus her outer world reflected this change. Another gentleman used this practice to transform his financial situation. For years he had spoken to himself as a person of limited means, constantly affirming, I can't afford that. I never have enough. Money is hard to come by. For 24 hours, he disciplined himself to speak as a wealthy man would speak. I am financially free. I am wonderfully wealthy. I can afford anything that truly matters to me. He shared with me that on that very day, He received an unexpected check in the mail, a refund from an overpayment he had made years earlier and had completely forgotten about. More significantly, opportunities began to present themselves in the following weeks that allowed him to increase his income substantially. The change in his circumstances directly reflected the change in his inner conversation. Let me clarify something of vital importance. When I speak of your inner conversation, I am not referring merely to affirmations repeated mechanically. I am speaking of that constant stream of thoughts, that mental chatter that accompanies you throughout your day. This is the word that was in the beginning of all creation in your world. For this practice to transform your life, your new inner conversation must be felt. It must be imbued with the emotion of already being and having what you desire. Feeling is the secret, the very fuel of manifestation. Your feeling is your faith, your conviction, and it is according to your faith that it is done in you. As you move through this 24-hour period, you will likely notice your old patterns of speech attempting to reassert themselves. This is natural. Do not fight them or condemn yourself when this happens. Simply notice them and gently but firmly replace them with your new chosen conversation. Remember, you are breaking a lifetime habit of speaking to yourself from the standpoint of limitation. Be patient with yourself, but be persistent. Each time you catch yourself speaking the old language, it is a victory, for you have become aware. And awareness is the first step to transformation. Throughout this 24 hours, pay particular attention to how you speak to yourself when faced with unexpected situations. It is in these moments that we most readily revert to habitual patterns. If something occurs that would normally trigger anxiety or frustration, pause before allowing your inner conversation to fall into familiar ruts. Then deliberately choose words that affirm your ideal, not your fears. For instance, if you find yourself stuck in traffic when you're already running late, resist the temptation to say to yourself, "This always happens to me. Nothing ever works out. I'm going to be in trouble." Instead, speak to yourself as one for whom all things work together for good. This delay serves a perfect purpose. I am exactly where I need to be. All is well, and all manner of things are well. The power of speaking to yourself in this transformed way for 24 hours is that it interrupts the momentum of all thought patterns. It creates a new groove, a new pathway in consciousness that, once established, becomes easier to travel. One day of vigilance can create a shift that alters the trajectory of your life. I want to address a question that may have arisen in your mind. Is this not self-deception? Am I not lying to myself when I speak as though I have what physical evidence clearly shows I do not have? This question reveals a fundamental misunderstanding about the nature of reality. The physical world you perceive is not the cause. It is the effect. It is not the beginning. It is the end result of consciousness. When you speak to yourself from the state of having your desire fulfilled, you are not lying, you are creating. You are exercising the same power that has created everything from invisible thought to visible form. In Scripture, we are told that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your new inner conversation is that substance, that evidence in the unseen realm of cause. It precedes the manifestation in the visible world of effects. Speaking to yourself from the consciousness of already being or having what you desire is not self-deception. It is the highest form of truth, for it acknowledges the creative principle of the universe. For these 24 hours, I urge you to adopt the mindset that your word is law. What you decree in the privacy of your mind must come to pass in your outer experience. This is not arrogance or magical thinking. It is simply acknowledging the creative principle that operates through all of us. I am is the self-definition of the infinite. When you say I am, you are invoking the creative power of the universe. Be exceedingly careful then what you attach to this powerful phrase. For 24 hours, use I am only to define yourself in terms of what you wish to be, do, and have. Instead of I am tired, say I'm energized. Rather than I am worried, declare I am confident all is working out perfectly. In place of I am stuck, affirm I am continuously moving forward toward my goals. Now, a practical suggestion for implementing this 24-hour experiment. Begin by writing down some of the habitual phrases you catch yourself saying internally. Next to each one, write a new phrase that reflects your desired state. Keep this list with you as a reference throughout the day. For example, Old, I never have enough time. New, I have all the time I need to accomplish what truly matters. Old, why does this always happen to me? New, everything that happens serves my highest good. Old, I'm not good at handling money. New, I am a wise and prosperous steward of abundance. Old, no one appreciates what I do. New, my contributions are recognized and valued by others. As you engage in this practice, you may discover that certain areas of your life are more challenging than others when it comes to transforming your inner conversation. Pay special attention to these areas, for they often hold the key to your greatest transformation. The resistance you feel is merely the old concept of yourself fighting for survival. Some of you may be wondering how this practice relates to your interactions with others. After all, we don't live in isolation. We are constantly engaged in outer conversation as well. Here is a profound truth. Your outer conversations with others are actually reflections of your habitual inner conversations. When you change how you speak to yourself about others and your relationship to them, you will naturally find your outer conversations transforming as well. You need make no direct effort to change how you speak to others. As your inner conversation shifts, your outer expression will align itself accordingly. For 24 hours, speak to yourself about others as though they already embody the qualities you wish to experience from them. If you have a supervisor you find difficult, rather than internally rehearsing their faults, speak to yourself of them as understanding, supportive, and appreciative. If you have a child who is struggling, speak to yourself of them as confident, capable, and thriving. Do not be concerned if you do not yet believe what you are saying to yourself. Remember, you are not reporting what is. You are creating what will be. Your faithfulness to your new inner conversation, despite all evidence to the contrary, is the measure of your faith. And again, it is done unto you according to your faith. I want to emphasize a point that many miss when first encountering this principle. The power lies not in the words themselves, but in the consciousness from which they spring. Words are merely the vessels that carry your consciousness. Speak to yourself not just with new words, but from a new state of being. This requires the use of your imagination, the greatest creative power you possess. As you speak these new words to yourself, see yourself as the person who would naturally think such thoughts. Feel what that person would feel. Move through your day with the attitude and bearing of one for whom these words are the natural expression of their being. For 24 hours, live from the assumption that what you desire is already yours. This is what it means to pray without ceasing. Not to beseech an external deity, but to maintain an inner conversation that aligns with your desires already fulfilled. I recall a young man who applied this principle to transform his career. He had been in the same position for years, passed over repeatedly for promotion. His inner conversation was filled with resentment and defeat. They don't value me. I'm stuck here forever. Others get the opportunities I deserve. For 24 hours, he disciplined himself to speak to himself as though he were already in the position he desired. I am an invaluable asset to this company. My contributions are recognized and rewarded. I serve in a capacity that utilizes my full potential. Within days, he was called into his supervisor's office and informed of a restructuring that created a new position, one that perfectly matched his skills and offered significantly more responsibility and compensation. What had changed? Not the external circumstances, but his inner conversation about those circumstances. As you move through these 24 hours, you may find yourself wondering how to handle thoughts about the past. Many of us have habitual inner conversations that revisit past disappointments, failures, or hurts. For this period, I urge you to speak to yourself about your past in a new way. Instead of interpreting past events as limitations or justifications for current conditions, speak of them as the perfect preparation for your current good fortune. Everything in my past has equipped me for the abundance I now experience. Every challenge has strengthened me. Every setback has redirected me to something better. This is not denying or suppressing painful experiences. It is reinterpreting them from a higher perspective. It is recognizing that consciousness is the only reality, and you are free at any moment to choose the consciousness from which you view your life. Let me share another dimension of this practice that many find transformative. For 24 hours, speak to yourself as if you are God speaking to you. For indeed, your I am is God individualized. When you say I am blessed, it is God declaring blessing through you. When you say I am strong, it is God expressing strength as you. This understanding removes any sense of untruth or pretense from your new inner conversation. You are not fabricating a reality. You are allowing the highest truth to express through you. You are claiming your divine inheritance as a creative being made in the image of the Creator. As this 24-hour period progresses, you may begin to notice subtle shifts in your external world. People may respond to you differently. Opportunities may present themselves unexpectedly. Solutions to long-standing problems may suddenly become clear. These are the first fruits of your transformed inner conversation. Do not, however, become preoccupied with looking for results. Your work is to maintain your new inner conversation regardless of appearances. The manifestation follows the inner word. It does not precede it. Keep your focus on being faithful to your new way of speaking to yourself, and let the outer pictures rearrange themselves in their own time and manner. I must address a question that often arises. What if I maintain this new inner conversation for 24 hours and nothing changes? My answer is simple. Something has changed. You have changed. You have interrupted patterns of thought that may have dominated your consciousness for decades. You have proven to yourself that you can choose your inner conversation rather than being at its mercy. Moreover, manifestation does not always occur instantaneously in the visible world. Some seeds sprout quickly, others require more time. But all seeds, when planted in fertile soil and given the proper conditions, must grow. It is law. Your word, planted in the soil of consciousness and watered with faith, must produce after its kind. If at the end of 24 hours you do not see the complete manifestation of your desire, do not be discouraged. Instead, be encouraged that you have begun a new pattern that, if maintained, must produce the conditions that correspond to it. Consider extending your commitment for another 24 hours, and then another. Many who have practiced this principle find that 24 hours of vigilant attention to their inner conversation creates a momentum, makes the second one that's 20 easier, and the third easier still. What begins as an exercise becomes a natural way of being. For these 24 hours, I urge you to be especially attentive to the feeling that accompanies your inner conversation. Words without feeling are empty shells. It is the emotion that gives them life and power. As you speak to yourself in this new way, cultivate the feeling of gratitude, the feeling of already being who you wish to be and having what you desire to have. Gratitude is a powerful catalyst in this process. When you speak to yourself with gratitude for what is not yet visible to the senses, you affirm your faith in the reality of your inner world over the temporary conditions of the outer. I am so grateful for my perfect health carries infinitely more creative power that I want to be healthy, or even I will be healthy. Throughout these 24 hours, you may encounter situations that seem to contradict your new inner conversation. A bill may arrive when you are affirming abundance. A physical symptom may intensify when you are speaking of perfect health. A relationship may appear to worsen when you are declaring harmony. In these moments, your commitment will be tested. The evidence of your senses will argue persuasively against your new internal dialogue. This is when you must stand firm in the knowledge that what you are observing externally is the outpicturing of past conversations, not the reality of the present moment. Speak to yourself as though what you are observing has no power to persist in the face of your new consciousness. This appearance is merely the shadow of former thinking. It has no substance or permanence. What I am now declaring within myself is the new reality that must replace it. Remember that creation is finished. All possible states exist now. You are not creating something new. You are selecting through your inner conversation which completed state you will occupy. When you understand this truth, you realize there is no waiting for your good to be created or to arrive from somewhere else. It exists now. And your inner conversation is the method by which you move into that state. For 24 hours, speak to yourself as one who dwells in the state of wish fulfilled. Speak with the quiet confidence of one who knows rather than the desperate longing of one who wishes. There is a world of difference between saying I want to be successful and I am successful. The first speaks from lack. The second speaks from fulfillment. As we continue this exploration of the power of your inner conversation, I want to address the matter of persistence. Some desires manifest quickly with a change in your inner dialogue. Others require more sustained attention. Do not be discouraged if, after 24 hours, you do not see the complete manifestation of your desire in the outer world. The seed has been planted and nothing can prevent its growth except your return to the old conversation. Just as a farmer does not dig up his seed each day to check on its progress, do not dig up your way reverting to the old patterns of speech that permitted the conditions you wish to change. There is a perfect timing to all manifestation that your conscious mind may not comprehend. Trust the process. Maintain your new inner conversation beyond these initial 24 hours and watch as the universe rearranges itself to embody your new concept of yourself. I recall a woman who applied this principle to transform her experience of chronic pain. For years, her inner conversation had been dominated by statements like, "My pain is unbearable. Nothing helps. I'll always suffer." For 24 hours, she disciplined herself to speak to herself differently. "My body knows how to heal itself. I am comfortable and at ease. Every day I feel better than the day before." She reported that by the end of the 24 hours, she had experienced brief periods of complete relief for the first time in years. As she continued this new inner conversation in the days that followed, these periods of relief grew longer and more frequent until, within weeks, the pain that had dominated her life for a decade was only an occasional minor discomfort. What changed? Not her physical condition initially, but her consciousness about that condition. As consciousness shifted, the body, which is only an obedient servant to consciousness, gradually conformed to the new assumption. As you engage in this 24-hour experiment, you are literally rewiring your brain. Neuroscience confirms what spiritual masters have taught for millennia, that focused attention changes the physical structure of the brain. When you persistently speak to yourself in a new way, you are creating new neural pathways that, with repetition, become the path of least resistance for your thoughts. This understanding should encourage you to persist beyond the initial 24 hours. What begins as a conscious exercise becomes, with practice, your natural way of thinking. The new inner conversation, at first maintained with effort, eventually becomes automatic, just as your old limiting conversations once were. For these 24 hours, I urge you to be especially vigilant during the drowsy states of consciousness, the moments just before sleep and just upon awakening. These twilight states provide direct access to the subconscious mind, which is the creative power that brings your assumptions into experience. As you drift off to sleep, speak to yourself as though your desire is already fulfilled. Let this be the last conversation you have before entering the sleep state. Similarly, in those first moments of awakening, before the analytical mind fully engages, re-establish this same inner conversation. These marginal states of consciousness are incredibly fertile for planting the seeds of your new reality. What is impressed upon the subconscious during these states takes root deeply and manifests with remarkable speed and fidelity. Throughout this 24-hour period, you may notice that certain phrases or thoughts have more emotional impact than others. Pay attention to these. They often indicate key states of consciousness that, when shifted, create the most significant changes in your outer experience. For example, you may find that speaking to yourself as financially secure produces a stronger emotional response than speaking of yourself as physically energetic. This would suggest that your consciousness about finances has been a more dominant limiting factor than your consciousness about health. Focus additional attention on maintaining your new conversation in these emotionally charged areas. I want to address something that often confuses those new to this practice. You may wonder, should I speak to myself about specific manifestations or about general states of being? The answer is both, in proper proportion. Your inner conversation should include specific statements that reflect your desires. My income is now $10,000 per month, or I live in my beautiful dream home by the ocean. But these should be balanced with statements about the state of consciousness that would naturally include these manifestations. I am abundantly supplied, or I dwell in perfect environments that reflect my inner harmony. The specific statements give direction to your creative energy. The general statements establish the consciousness from which all related manifestations can naturally flow. Both are valuable components of your transformed inner conversation. As you move through this 24-hour period, you may encounter people who seem determined to pull you back into old patterns of thinking and speaking. They may focus on problems, limitations, or negative possibilities. In these interactions, maintain your new inner conversation with even greater vigilance. While they speak of what is wrong or impossible, speak to yourself of what is right and very possible. While they focus on lack, speak to yourself of abundance. Do not argue or try to convert them. Simply maintain your position in consciousness regardless of their influence. Remember, everyone in your life is a reflection of some aspect of your consciousness. As you transform your inner conversation, you will gradually find that others either change how they interact with you or disappear from your experience to be replaced by those who resonate with your new state of being. For 24 hours, speak to yourself as though you are the source of all your experience rather than the victim of it. This is not about assuming blame, but claiming power. I draw to myself perfect circumstances. I am the attractor of my experience. Everything in my world reflects my consciousness. This understanding liberates you from feeling at the mercy of people and conditions. It places the creative power where it belongs, within your own consciousness, expressed through your inner conversation. As this 24-hour experiment unfolds, pay attention to how your outer speech begins to align with your new inner conversation. You may find yourself spontaneously speaking words to others that reflect your transformed consciousness. This is a sign that your new way of thinking is taking root deeply. Do not force this alignment. Let it unfold naturally. Your work is with your inner conversation only. As that shifts, your outer expression will follow suit without conscious effort on your part. I want to share one more powerful dimension of this practice. For 24 hours, when speaking to yourself about desired states or manifestations, use the phrase, "Isn't it wonderful?" as a prefix. Isn't it wonderful that I am now in perfect health? Isn't it wonderful that my relationships are harmonious and fulfilling? Isn't it wonderful that abundance flows to me effortlessly? This phrase evokes the feeling of pleasant surprise and gratitude that accompanies the manifestation of a desire. It bridges the gap between your present awareness and the consciousness of having what you seek. It imbues your inner conversation with the emotional tone that accelerates manifestation. As we approach the conclusion of this exploration, I remind you that this 24-hour practice is not merely a technique for getting what it is, an introduction to a new way of being in the world. It is an invitation to live consciously from the creative center of your being, rather than reactively from the circumference of conditions. The transformation of your inner conversation is the transformation of your life. What you habitually say to yourself determines what you will experience. Choose your words as though they are seeds from which your future will grow, because they are precisely that. For 24 hours, speak to yourself as the person you aspire to be. Feel what that person would feel. Think what they would think. Move through your day with the quiet confidence of one who knows that their word is law in their universe. Then watch as your outer world begins its faithful reflection of this new inner reality. For the outer must conform to the inner, it has no choice. This is the immutable law of consciousness. I leave you with this challenge and this promise: give 24 hours to the vigilant observation and transformation of your inner conversation, and you will take the first step toward a completely new experience of life. The world you will begin to encounter will bear the unmistakable imprint of your transformed consciousness. And as you discover the creative power of your inner word, you will understand the true meaning of that ancient statement. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. For you will know from your own experience that your word, your inner conversation, is indeed the beginning of all that appears in your world.
Imagine for a moment that your entire life, everything you have ever known, is but a dream within the vast imagination of God. You believe you are bound by circumstances, confined by time, limited by the things you see. But what if I told you that you are far greater than you think? What if the very struggles you face are not obstacles but whispers, nudging you towards something beyond comprehension? There is a force moving through all things, shaping destinies, breaking chains, lifting veils. It is not the hand of chance or the cold laws of nature, but the divine orchestration of a power so immense, so precise, that if you could see its full scope, it would leave you breathless. You may think you are waiting on miracles, but the truth is, miracles are waiting on you. You stand at the edge of a revelation, one that will shatter the illusion of limitation and awaken you to a reality far greater than the one you now know. This is not a message of hope alone, it is a call to remembrance, a call to awaken to the truth of who you are, and the boundless plan set in motion for you before time began. You have been told that life is a series of random events, that you must struggle and strive, that destiny is out of your hands. But what if I told you that everything unfolding in your life, every joy, every trial, every unexpected twist, is part of a plan so vast, so intricate, that your mind could scarcely contain it? You were never meant to wander aimlessly, to live in fear, to question your worth. The world may have convinced you that you are small, but God's plan is not concerned with how things appear. It is not limited by what you see, nor by what others believe about you. It is infinite, unshakable, a divine force moving beneath the surface of all things. And whether you recognize it or not, it is working for you. The road ahead may seem uncertain. The circumstances before you may appear impossible. But do not be deceived by appearances. Do not let what you see with your natural eyes determine what you believe is possible. The unseen world is more real than the one you touch, and it is from that unseen world that all things are born. There are moments in life when everything seems to fall apart. The doors that once stood open slam shut. The path you thought would lead you to joy turns to dust beneath your feet. And in that moment, when all seems lost, you may wonder, where is God in this? Has He abandoned me? Has He forgotten the promises spoken over my life? But I tell you this, what you see as an ending is merely the shifting of the heavens, the rearranging of time itself to make way for something greater than you have dared to imagine. There is no mistake, no failure, no setback that can hinder what has already been ordained for you. What seems like a delay is not a delay at all. It is a preparation, it is the unfolding of divine intention in a way that your limited mind cannot yet perceive. What you call waiting is, in truth, a sacred becoming. A transformation that will reveal in due time that everything was always happening for you, never against you. You have been placed in this world not to be a spectator, not to be a victim of chance, but to awaken to the truth that all things are possible. The moment you dare to believe, the moment you cast aside doubt, and step into the knowing that you are an instrument of something far greater, everything begins to shift. Doors open, paths clear, people are drawn into your life as if by magic. But this is not magic, it is law. It is the law of faith, the law of creation, the law that governs all things. Look back on your life. Reflect on the moments when you thought you had reached the end, only to find that something greater was waiting just beyond the horizon. You have been guided all along, even when you did not see it, even when you doubted. There was never a moment when you were alone, never a time when divine hands were not shaping your destiny. Do you feel the pull in your spirit? That gentle urging, that quiet voice whispering that something more is coming? That is the call. The call to step into the fullness of your purpose, to stop settling for the life the world tells you is possible, and to step into the life that has already been written for you. But know this, God's plan is not small. It is not ordinary. It does not conform to human expectation. It does not fit neatly within the limitations of logic. It is bigger than you think, bigger than you have imagined, bigger than anything you have yet dared to dream. And because it is so big, the road to it may not look the way you expected. There will be moments when everything seems to fall away, when the familiar is stripped from your hands, when you are left standing in the unknown. Do not fear these moments. They are not punishment. They are not rejection. They are refinement. They are preparation. When everything is being taken away, it is because you are being positioned for something greater. When one door closes, it is because 1,000 others are being prepared to open. You were never meant for an ordinary existence. You were never meant to live beneath your potential, to shrink in the face of adversity, to allow the voices of doubt to dictate your path. The power that formed the stars, that breathed galaxies into existence, resides within you. You are not separate from it. You are not apart from it. You are an expression of it. If only you could see yourself as you truly are. If only you could see the greatness that has been woven into your being, you would never again doubt. You would never again settle. You would walk forward with the certainty that nothing can stand in your way, that every challenge is merely a step toward the greater unfolding of your destiny. God's plan for you is not small, because you were never meant to live a small life. You were meant to expand, to rise, to step into places you never thought possible. But you must let go of the old. You must release the fear, the doubt, the belief that you are unworthy or incapable. Those are illusions, shadows cast by the mind. The truth is far greater. And so the time has come. The moment is now. No more waiting, no more hesitating, no more wondering if you are ready. You are ready. You always have been. Step forward, believe, and watch as the impossible becomes your reality. You have been conditioned to believe in limitations, to accept a reality bound by the laws of the natural world. But what if I told you that the laws of the unseen are far greater, far more powerful, and that they are already working in your favor? What if I told you that the very thing you call reality is nothing more than a reflection of the deeper, unseen world that exists within you? Every thought you entertain, every belief you hold, every vision you dare to see within your mind, it is all creating, shaping, molding the world around you. You are not here to react to life. You are here to command it. You are not here to be at the mercy of circumstance. You are here to shape circumstance according to the divine blueprint already written for you. But herein lies the challenge. The mind has been trained to see obstacles instead of opportunities, fear instead of faith, impossibilities instead of promises. The moment something does not go as planned, doubt creeps in. The moment a door closes, fear takes over. But listen to me now. There is no such thing as failure in the divine plan. There is no such thing as a setback in the eyes of the infinite. What you see as a delay is in reality a redirection. What you see as loss is often a divine exchange, removing what no longer serves you to make way for what is meant for you. And yet, so often, instead of trusting, you resist. Instead of believing, you retreat. But if only you knew, if only you could glimpse what is waiting on the other side of your surrender, you would never again doubt. God's plan is far bigger than you think, and because it is so big, it may not unfold the way you expected. You may have thought the path would be straight, but instead it twists and turns, leading you through unfamiliar territory. You may have thought the journey would be easy, but instead you find yourself walking through valleys of uncertainty. Yet even in those valleys, the hand of the divine is guiding you, shaping you. There is nothing wasted in the divine ardor. Every moment of waiting, every season of struggle, every unanswered question, it all serves a purpose. You may not see it now, but in time, you will look back and realize that even the detours were part of the plan. Even the heartbreaks, the disappointments, the closed doors, they were necessary, for they led you exactly where you needed to be. Look at the seed that is buried in the ground. To the untrained eye, it appears lifeless, as though nothing is happening. But beneath the soil, something extraordinary is taking place. Roots are forming, strength is being built, transformation is unfolding. And then, in the appointed time, what was hidden breaks through the surface. It was never dead, it was becoming. And so it is with you. You are not forgotten, you are not overlooked, you are not behind, you are becoming. You are being shaped, being strengthened, being positioned for something greater than you have yet to comprehend. Do not mistake the hidden season for the end of the story. Do not mistake the waiting for abandonment. What you call stillness is in truth the greatest movement of all, for it is in the unseen, in the quiet, in the moments when nothing seems to be happening, that the most profound transformations take place. There will come a moment when everything changes, when the thing you have been waiting for suddenly appears, when the doors that were once closed are thrown open, when the weight you have carried is lifted. And in that moment, you will understand, you will see why every delay, every trial, every moment of uncertainty was necessary. But hear me now, you do not have to wait for that moment to believe. You do not have to see it to know it is already done. The moment you decide to trust, to believe without wavering, to walk forward as though the promise has already been fulfilled, that is the moment the shift begins. That is the moment heaven moves on your behalf. Faith is not about seeing and then believing. Faith is believing so completely that the unseen world has no choice but to manifest in the visible. When you walk in this knowing, when you refuse to be moved by what your eyes see and instead hold firm to what you know within, you become unstoppable. The world may say no, but the divine plan says yes. Circumstances may say impossible, but the eternal truth says it is already done. Do not limit God's plan by the limitations of your own mind. You may think you know how things should unfold, but your vision is small compared to the vastness of divine intention. Let go of your attachment to how it should happen and trust that it is happening in the way that is best for you. What is coming will shock you, not because it is impossible, but because it will be far greater, far more beautiful, far more extraordinary than you could have imagined. The time for doubt is over. The time for hesitation has passed. Now is the moment to step fully into the truth of who you are, to align yourself with the divine plan, to stand firm in the knowing that what is meant for you is already making its way into your life. No force in this world can stop it. No circumstance can alter it. No fear can delay it. There is a shift taking place. You feel it. You sense it. You know that something is moving. Something is changing. Something is unfolding. That is the call. That is the invitation to step beyond what is familiar, to release the old and embrace the new, to trust that the hands that created the universe are holding your life in perfect order. Do not look back. Do not question the path that brought you here. Everything you have walked through, every battle you have fought, every tear you have cried, it has all led to this moment. The moment when you finally understand that you were never waiting on God. God has been waiting on you, waiting for you to believe, waiting for you to step forward, waiting for you to claim what has always been yours. And so I ask you now, will you believe before you see? Will you trust before the doors open? Will you walk forward in faith, knowing that what is coming will not only meet your expectations, but exceed them beyond anything you could have ever imagined? What is coming will shock you, not because it is impossible, but because it is inevitable. It has always been written. It has always been yours. The only question that remains is this: will you finally step into it? You do not yet realize the magnitude of what has been set in motion for you. You stand at the edge of something so vast, so extraordinary, that if you could glimpse even a fraction of it, every doubt, every fear, every hesitation would vanish in an instant. But the plan is not meant to be seen all at once. It is revealed in steps, in whispers, in moments of divine alignment. And it is in those moments that you must decide. Will you trust the process even when you do not understand it? Too many live their lives waiting for proof before they believe. They want the evidence before they take the first step. But this is not how the divine operates. What is written for you is not bound by the logic of this world. It is not subject to human reasoning, nor is it limited by time. What has been promised exists already. It is simply waiting for you to align with it. You ask, when will it happen? When will I see it? But that is not the question. The real question is, do you believe it is already done? Because the moment you truly believe, the moment you know beyond all doubt that what is meant for you cannot be taken from you, that is the moment everything shifts. You've been walking through doors you thought were leading you somewhere, only to find them closing in your face. You've been holding on to things that were never meant for you, relationships, jobs, opportunities, identities that no longer fit who you are becoming. And you have asked, why is this happening? But what you see as rejection is in truth divine protection. What you see as loss is preparation for something far greater. You were never meant to remain in places that no longer serve you. You were never meant to cling to the familiar out of fear of the unknown. The life you desire, the future that is waiting for you, requires you to let go of everything that is keeping you tied to an old version of yourself. You cannot step into what is coming while holding on to what is meant to be left behind. But here is the truth. God does not take things from you without the intention of giving you something greater. When something is removed, it is only to make space for something far beyond your understanding. When a door closes, it is only because a better one is about to open. If you could see what is being prepared for you, you would never again question why something had to leave. You would never again resist the shifts that are taking place in your life. You have prayed for change, you have asked for more, you have sought a greater purpose, and now the very things you have prayed for are being set into motion. But the manifestation of these prayers does not always come in the way you expect. Sometimes, before things can come together, they must first fall apart. Sometimes, before you can step into the promise, you must first be stripped of everything that is not aligned with it. Do not fight the transformation that is happening. Do not resist the process. It may not look the way you thought it would, but trust that it is leading you exactly where you are meant to be. There are moments in life when you must walk by faith alone, when you must move forward even when the path is unclear. This is one of those moments. The plan is unfolding even now. The pieces are coming together even now. You may not see it, you may not feel it, but that does not mean it is not happening. Just as the seed grows beneath the soil before it ever breaks the surface, so too is your destiny unfolding in the unseen before it manifests in the visible. There will come a time when you look back on this season and realize that everything Every delay, every detour, every moment of uncertainty was necessary, that every struggle was shaping you, every closed door was redirecting you, every unanswered prayer was making room for something far greater than you had envisioned. You will understand why certain things had to end, why certain people had to leave, why certain opportunities had to pass you by. But until that time comes, you must hold on to the truth that what is coming is far greater than anything you are leaving behind. The mind will try to convince you that you are losing, but in truth you are being positioned for something that will leave you in awe. The enemy of progress is doubt, and doubt arises when you focus on what is happening instead of what has already been written. You do not need to know the how, you do not need to know the when, you only need to know that it is already done. The universe is not waiting on circumstances to align, it is waiting on you to believe. It is waiting on you to stop questioning, to stop hesitating, to stop looking at what is in front of you and start trusting what has already been declared over your life. When you step into this truth, when you move in faith instead of fear, you become unstoppable. The world cannot shake you. Circumstances cannot deter you. You will walk through every storm with the confidence that nothing can stand in the way of what has been divinely ordained for you. So let go of the need to control. Release the need to understand every detail. Stop trying to force doors open that are meant to remain closed. Your only task is to trust, to believe, to align your thoughts and actions with the truth that what is coming will not just meet your expectations but exceed them in ways you never imagined. There is a divine order to all things. What is meant for you cannot be rushed, nor can it be delayed. It will arrive at the perfect time, in the perfect way, and when it does, you will stand in awe at how every moment, every challenge, every disappointment, every tear was necessary to bring you to the place you were always meant to be. But you do not need to wait until then to feel the joy, the peace, the certainty. You can step into it now. You can claim it now. You can walk forward now, knowing that the path is already laid before you. The journey may not look the way you thought it would, but the destination is certain, the promise is real, the plan is unfolding. What is coming will shock you, not because it is impossible, but because it is inevitable. It has already been written. It has already been prepared. The only thing that remains is for you to step forward and receive it. There is a shift happening even now, a divine movement rearranging things on your behalf. You may not see it yet, you may not feel it yet, but it is happening. Just as the ocean tides are moved by forces unseen, so too is your life being guided by a hand far greater than your own. And what is coming will not just surprise you, it will redefine everything you thought was possible. You have been walking through seasons of waiting, through moments where nothing seemed to make sense. You have questioned, you have wondered, you have asked, why is this happening? But if you knew the answer, if you could see the full picture, you would understand that nothing was wasted, nothing was in vain. Every moment has been building towards something greater, something far beyond your understanding. The discomfort you feel is not a sign of abandonment. It is a sign of transformation. The tension, the uncertainty, the moments when you feel stretched beyond your limit, these are not punishments. They are preparations. Just as a caterpillar must be enclosed in darkness before it emerges with wings, so too must you go through moments of uncertainty before stepping into the fullness of your destiny. You were not created for mediocrity. You were not meant to live a small life confined by fear and hesitation. You were meant for greatness, for expansion, for impact. But to step into that, you must first release everything that is not in alignment with where you are going. The things, the people, the habits, the thoughts that once served you may no longer fit the person you are becoming. Let them go. Do not mourn what is leading. Do not cling to what was. The past served its purpose. It was a chapter, not the whole story. And what is coming will not only replace what was lost, but it will surpass it in ways you never expected. The plan for your life is not fragile. It is not dependent on perfect conditions. It is not at the mercy of other people's opinions or actions. No one can take from you what has been divinely appointed to you. No mistake you have made can cancel what has already been written. No delay, no detour, no failure can alter what is destined to unfold. You may think you have lost time. You may feel that you have wasted years. But listen to me. Nothing is lost in the hands of the divine. Time bends in the presence of purpose. What you thought would take years will happen in moments. What seemed impossible will come with ease. And when it does, you will wonder why you ever doubted in the first place. But before that moment comes, you must believe without seeing. You must trust without proof. That is the test. That is the moment where faith is required. It is easy to believe once the doors open, once the opportunities arrive, once everything is laid before you. But the real power, the real transformation happens when you believe while you are still in the dark, when you trust before there is evidence, when you walk forward even when the path is not yet visible. The greatest moments in life do not come with warnings. They do not announce themselves. They arrive suddenly, like a whisper in the wind, like a shift in the atmosphere. And in that moment, you will know, this is what I was waiting for. This is what I was being prepared for. But you do not have to wait until that moment to live with the confidence that it is already done. You can walk in that assurance now. You can move as though it has already happened, because in the divine realm it already has. The only thing that remains is for you to align yourself with it, to step into the frequency of faith, so that what is written in the unseen can manifest in the seen. Do not allow the illusions of this world to convince you that you are alone. Do not let the temporary struggles convince you that you are forsaken. You are being guided, held, led. And if you could see from a higher perspective, if you could glimpse the fullness of what is unfolding, you would never again doubt. There is more for you, more than what you have settled for, more than what you have imagined, more than what the world has told you is possible. And the moment you decide to believe in the unseen more than the seen, the moment you trust in what is already yours, the floodgates will open. But you must be ready. You must be willing to release everything that is no longer serving your highest good. You must be prepared to step into the unknown with the confidence that what is waiting for you is greater than anything you are leaving behind. This is not a time for hesitation. This is not a time to look back. This is a time to step forward with unwavering faith, knowing that what is coming is not just what you asked for, it is more. It is greater, it is beyond. And when it arrives, you will look back on this moment and realize that it was always meant to be. You were never lost, you were never forgotten. Every step, even the ones that felt like detours, even the ones that felt like failures, were leading you here. And now the time has come. The shift is happening. The doors are opening. And nothing can stop what is already in motion. You may not understand the magnitude of what is happening in your life right now. You may not see how every event, every shift, every closed door, and every unexpected detour is leading you exactly where you need to be. But trust this. Nothing is out of alignment. Nothing is accidental. Nothing is happening outside the divine plan that has already been written for you. You may be questioning, wondering if things are ever going to change, if the path before you will ever become clear. But what if I told you that the clarity you seek is already within you? What if I told you that the very power you think you are waiting on has been waiting on you? There is nothing outside of you that you need. You already possess everything necessary to step into the life you were destined to live. Too often we seek confirmation from the world. We wait for signs, for proof, for validation that we are on the right path. But faith does not wait for evidence. Faith moves before the proof appears. Faith acts as though the promise has already been fulfilled. And it is that kind of faith that shifts the course of destiny, that accelerates divine timing, that unlocks the doors you thought would never open. But there is a process to this journey. You cannot skip the steps. You cannot rush what is meant to unfold in its appointed time. A foundation must be built before the structure can rise. And that is what has been happening in your life. You have been in the preparation phase, the strengthening, the refining, the molding into the person you need to become in order to receive what is already waiting for you. If you were given everything you desired too soon, you would not be able to sustain it. If the doors opened before you were ready, you would not be able to walk through them with the wisdom and strength required to remain there. What you call waiting is not delay. It is divine alignment. It is the perfect orchestration of events so that when your moment arrives, you are prepared to step into it fully. There are moments when you will feel tested, moments when you will be stretched beyond what you thought you could endure. And in those moments it may seem as if nothing is working, as if the promise has been forgotten, as if the plan has been abandoned. But the truth is, those are the moments when the most work is being done. The most profound transformations happen in the unseen, beneath the surface, in the silent spaces where faith is tested and strengthened. You may feel like you are walking through fire, but that fire is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to refine you, to burn away everything that is not in alignment with where you are going. It is meant to prepare you for the magnitude of what is ahead. Do not resist the process. Do not shrink in fear. Walk through it with the knowing that you are being made into something greater than you can yet comprehend. The breaking, the stretching, the discomfort, it is all part of the journey. It is all leading to the moment when everything changes, because that moment is coming. The shift is not a question of if, but when. And when it arrives, you will understand why you had to go through everything you did. You will see how the pieces fit together, how the delays were not denials, how the rejections were actually redirections. But even now, before that moment arrives, you have a choice. You can choose to walk in doubt, to question the plan, to live in fear, or you can choose to trust fully, to step into the certainty that what has been promised is already yours. And that choice, that decision, is what determines how quickly the doors will open, how swiftly the blessings will unfold. The universe does not operate on hesitation. It does not respond to doubt. It moves in accordance with faith, with certainty, with the unwavering belief that what is meant for you is already on its way. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop waiting for signs. Stop waiting for something outside of you to give you permission to move forward. Everything you need has already been placed within you. The path is already set. The timing is already ordained. All you must do is step forward. Even if you do not see the whole road ahead, even if the way is unclear, move anyway. The doors will open as you walk. The clarity will come as you trust. The breakthroughs will manifest as you align yourself fully with the knowing that you are exactly where you need to be, that nothing is out of place, that everything is happening exactly as it should. This is your time. This is your moment. What is coming is far greater than you have imagined. And when it arrives, you will look back and realize that it was never a matter of chance, but a matter of divine intention. It was always meant to be. And now, the only thing that remains is for you to step into it. And so here you stand, on the threshold of something greater than you have ever known. The waiting, the refining, the stretching, it has all led to this moment. You are not lost, you are not behind, you are exactly where you need to be. And everything you have walked through has been preparing you for what is coming. No more hesitation, no more questioning, no more waiting for signs. The signs have always been there, written in the quiet urgings of your soul, in the unshakable knowing that there is more for you, and now the time has come to step fully into that knowing, to walk forward with unwavering faith, to trust that what is meant for you cannot be taken from you. You were never waiting on God. God was waiting on you, waiting for you to believe, to rise, to claim the life that has always been yours. The shift is already in motion. The doors are already opening. What is coming will not just meet your expectations, it will exceed them in ways you never imagined. Step forward, trust, and watch as the impossible becomes your reality. There comes a moment, a divine stirring, when life as you know it is about to shift. Not just a minor change, not a passing breeze, but a great and irreversible transformation. And if you listen closely, if you still the mind and open the heart, you will see the signs before it happens. These signs are not coincidences, nor are they accidents of fate. They are the whispers of God, the unseen hand rearranging your world, preparing you for what is to come. The first great sign is an unsettling, a divine discontent. That which once brought you joy may now feel empty. You may sense a restlessness, as if the walls of your life are closing in, no longer containing the vastness of who you are meant to be. This is not a time to despair, it is a time to rejoice. For when the soul outgrows its current reality, God is calling it into a new one. What seems like discomfort is the gentle breaking of chains. The second sign appears as a crumbling, the dissolution of what once seemed stable. Perhaps relationships shift, Opportunities fade, familiar paths become impassable, the very ground beneath your feet may tremble, and you may wonder if you are losing everything, but I tell you, nothing real is ever lost. What is leaving is only that which no longer serves the life God is bringing forth in you. Do not resist. Do not grasp at what is falling away. Trust, for a greater design is unfolding, one that you could not yet see with the eyes of the past. And then there is the third and most powerful sign, the sudden influx of vision, desire, and inner knowing. When God is about to change your life forever, a new dream begins to stir within you. It arrives as an unshakable feeling, a vision that will not leave you. You see yourself somewhere you have never been. You feel drawn towards something without logical explanation. It may seem beyond your reach, but I tell you, if it were not meant for you, you would not see it. Desire is the language of the divine, the promise of what is already yours if you dare to claim it. And so, if you have felt this restlessness, if your world has been shaken, if a vision is pulling at your soul, do not shrink back in fear. Lift your head, for God is not taking something from you. He is preparing you for something far greater. Move forward in faith, knowing that the door is already open and the path is already made. The greatest transformations come not through force, but through surrender. Trust, believe, and step into the life that is waiting for you. When God moves in your life, He does not whisper politely at your door, hoping you'll notice. No, He shakes the very foundations of your being, calls forth the soul that has long slumbered, and demands that you rise into your true destiny. This is why the signs are unmistakable. They are not quiet suggestions, they are divine disruptions, preparing you for what is already yours. And yet, so many, when faced with these signs, resist. They see discomfort and call it misfortune. They see loss and call it punishment. They feel the pull of a new vision but label it impossible. But hear me, God never disturbs a life unless He intends to transform it. What you call uncertainty is simply the undoing of a lesser version of yourself, making way for the greater. That divine discontent gnawing at you, it is the voice of the Creator within, refusing to let you settle where you do not belong. You may try to ignore it, distract yourself, drown it out with the noise of the world, but it will not leave. It will grow louder, and the longer you resist, the more life will press upon you until you have no choice but to answer the call. And then, when the familiar begins to crumble, when relationships shift, when doors close, when the things you once leaned on begin to fall away, you may feel as though you are being abandoned. But you are not being abandoned. You are being redirected. When God is about to change your life, He removes every crutch, every false foundation, so that you stand fully in His plan. If you are clinging to what is leaving, let go. What is coming is greater. And oh, the final sign, that unshakable vision, that desire that will not leave you alone, it appears not as a random wish, but as a knowing, deep, undeniable, and persistent. It will not release you because it is not coming from you. It is coming through you. It is the future calling. It is your higher self remembering who you are. Do not ask if it is possible. It is already done in the mind of God. Your only task is to step forward in faith. So, I ask you now, will you heed the signs or will you resist them? Will you shrink back in fear or will you stand boldly and say, I am ready? Because the truth is this, life as you know it is already gone. What is left is your choice. Will you embrace what is coming? Will you allow yourself to become what you were always meant to be? This is your moment. Your destiny is unfolding, and all of heaven is waiting for you to take the first step. When God is about to change your life forever, He does not ask for your permission. He commands your awakening. And this awakening is not gentle. It is not convenient. It does not arrive wrapped in comfort. No, it shakes you to your core. It dismantles the illusions you have built. It breaks you open, not to destroy you, but to reveal you. You may wonder why everything feels uncertain, why the old ways no longer satisfy, why the things that once fit now feel foreign. It is because you are no longer who you were. You are no longer meant for the life you once lived. Your spirit has already moved ahead, and now the rest of you must follow. You see, transformation is not about waiting for things to change around you. It is about becoming the one who commands the change. The moment you realize this, truly realize it, your entire world shifts. because God does not bring new life to those who insist on clinging to the old. He brings it to those who are willing to step into the unknown, with nothing but faith as their foundation. If your life is shaking, if doors are closing, if your heart is stirring, this is your confirmation. The very thing you are afraid to lose is the thing that is keeping you from what is greater. Do not beg for the past to return. It will not. Instead, stand in the awareness that what is coming is so much greater that you will one day thank God for everything that is leaving now. But hear me, you must act, not tomorrow, not when it is comfortable, not when it is easy, now. The moment of hesitation is the moment of delay, and heaven does not wait for those who refuse to move. There is a version of you, stronger, freer, wiser, waiting on the other side of your fear. There is a life, richer, fuller, beyond imagination, waiting for your arrival. There is a destiny, written in divine ink, that can only be lived by the one who dares to step forward. So the question is not whether God is changing your life. The question is whether you will surrender to it, whether you will embrace the signs, whether you will rise into what is already yours. For the kingdom of heaven is within you. The power to transform your life is not outside of you, it is within you. You were never meant to beg for blessings, you were meant to call them forth. You were never meant to wait for a miracle, you are the miracle. So arise, step forward, and watch as the heavens align in your favor, for the time is now, and the change is already here. There comes a time when you must decide, will you remain as you have always been, or will you become what you were always meant to be? This is that time. You have seen the signs, you have felt the stirring, you know deep within that something is shifting. This is no accident, this is not a mere season, this is a divine appointment. You did not come into this life to live in hesitation. You did not come here to exist in cycles of doubt and delay. You came here to create, to transform, to become a living expression of the divine. And now, at this very moment, God is calling you to step forward. Feel it. The old life is crumbling, not as a loss, but as a release. What is breaking apart is only that which cannot come with you. And if it cannot come with you, it was never yours to keep. You are being stripped of limitation, cleansed of illusion, prepared for a life so abundant, so free, so extraordinary, that you cannot yet fully comprehend it. But here is the truth. You do not need to understand it. You only need to say yes. Yes to the calling. Yes to the discomfort of growth. Yes to the unknown where miracles are born. Because on the other side of that yes, everything shifts. The delays end, the doors open, the vision that once seemed distant suddenly begins to manifest before your eyes. But you must believe before you see. You must trust before it arrives. This is the test not of suffering, but of faith. Because God does not withhold. God does not tease. What is yours has already been given. The only thing that determines when it arrives is when you decide to claim it. So claim it. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for a sign greater than the one you have already received. This moment is the sign. This moment is the confirmation. This moment is heaven's whisper, saying, move now, for everything you desire is waiting for you. So rise. Stand in your power. Step into the life that has been calling you. For you are not just on the brink of change, you are the change. And once you step forward, you will never look back. This is your time, the shift is here, and the life you were born for is waiting. You were never meant for smallness. You were never meant to live in lack, in fear, in hesitation. You were born to create, to expand, to rise. And everything that has happened up to this point, every struggle, every delay, every moment of uncertainty has not been working against you. It has been preparing you. Because God does not call the unprepared. He does not awaken those who are not ready. If you have felt the shift, if you have seen the signs, if you have been drawn into this very moment, it is because you are ready. Ready to release, ready to step forward, ready to receive. And yet, so many stand at the edge of their destiny and hesitate. They let their old fears speak louder than their new vision. They let their past define their future. They ask, what if I fail? when they should be asking, what if I succeed beyond my wildest imagination? And so I tell you now, there is no more waiting. The hesitation ends here, because there is a force moving within you, a power greater than anything you have ever known. And the moment you surrender to it, the moment you stop fighting the change that is calling you, everything will unfold with divine precision. But surrender is not passive. It is not sitting back, hoping for a miracle. It is stepping forward with faith so unshakable that the very universe must bow in response. It is walking as if the promise is already fulfilled. It is speaking as if the miracle has already arrived. Because in truth it has. There is no time left for doubt, no room left for fear. You have been called, the transformation has begun, and there is no going back. So I ask you, will you rise? Will you step into the life that has been waiting for you? Will you trust that every closed door was a blessing? That every loss was a redirection? That every delay was divine timing moving on your behalf? Because the life that is coming, the life that is already yours, is beyond anything you have imagined. And the only thing standing between you and it is the decision to claim it. So claim it now, step into it now, walk boldly, speak boldly, believe boldly, for the heavens have already moved, the path has already been cleared, and your new life has already begun. This is your moment, this is your awakening, and from this day forward, nothing will ever be the same. You have been waiting, watching, wondering when the shift will happen. You have asked for signs, for confirmation, for proof that this transformation is real, and now here it is. Not in the form of a distant promise, not in the form of a future hope, but now, right here. This very moment is the threshold between the life you have known and the life that is calling you. What you feel stirring inside you is not just a passing thought. It is not a fleeting desire. It is the voice of the divine within you, the blueprint of your highest self, the memory of who you were always meant to be. And it will not be silent. It will not fade away. It will not stop calling you forward. But here is where many falter. They see the shift, they feel the signs, but they hesitate. They cling to the familiar, even as it crumbles beneath them. They mistake the breaking apart for destruction, when in truth it is the birth of something greater. Do you not see? The old is not being taken from you, it is being removed for you. The things that no longer serve you, the places you have outgrown, the limitations that have held you back, they are being cleared, not as punishment, not as loss, but as preparation. Because the life that is waiting for you requires you to be free, free from doubt, free from fear, free from the version of yourself that was never meant to last. And so the final question remains. Will you step forward? Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, not when every detail makes sense. Now, because destiny does not wait for those who hesitate. The power is in this moment, in the decision you make now. You may not see the whole path, but that is not your concern. Your only task is to take the first step in faith, to trust that if you move, the way will be revealed, to believe so deeply, so completely, that heaven itself bends to the force of your certainty. And when you do, you will see what was always true. You were never stuck, you were never trapped, the doors were never locked. It was only your own hesitation that kept you in place. But now, the hesitation is gone. The waiting is over. The shift has already begun. So step forward, speak boldly, move with unwavering faith. For God has not just called you, He has chosen you. And everything you desire, everything you have prayed for, everything you have dreamed in the quiet of your soul, it is already done. This is your new beginning. The time is now. And from this moment on, nothing will ever be the same again. For too long you have danced on the edge of your destiny, one foot in the past, one foot in the future, hesitant to leap into the unknown. But hear me now. God does not work in hesitation. He does not move through the timid. He does not part seas for those who refuse to step into the water. If you have felt the shaking, if you have seen the signs, if you have known in the deepest part of your soul that change is upon you, then this is not a time to shrink back. This is a time to step boldly forward, to claim the life that has been calling you, to declare with unwavering certainty, I am ready. But readiness is not just a feeling. It is action, it is movement. It is the refusal to stay in a life that no longer fits. It is the courage to let go of what is safe, of what is familiar, of what is known, so that you can step into something greater. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable. Growth always does. The caterpillar does not transform into the butterfly without first dissolving into nothingness. The seed does not break open without the pressure of the soil. The old must die so the new can be born. And that is what is happening to you. The things that are falling apart are not happening to you, they are happening for you. The people who are leaving, the doors that are closing, the structures that are collapsing, it is all divine intervention. Because the life God has prepared for you cannot be built on weak foundations. So do not mourn what is leaving, do not cling to what is being removed, instead rejoice, because what is coming is greater. What is coming is the manifestation of the vision that has been growing inside you. What is coming is the answer to the prayers you once whispered in the dark. But here is the truth. You must move before you see it. You must believe before it is tangible. This is the test. This is the moment where faith is not just a word, but a force, a power, an unshakable certainty that drives you forward. God has already set the stage. The opportunities have already been aligned. The miracles have already been released. The only thing left is you. Will you step into it? Will you stop waiting? Will you walk as if the promise is already fulfilled? Because that is the key, moving as if it is already done. Not begging, not hoping, not wondering, but knowing that heaven has already moved on your behalf. Knowing that the doors are already open. Knowing that the only thing left to do is walk through them. To walk, move, claim the life that is yours. For this is not just a shift, this is not just a season, this is your awakening. This is the moment when everything changes. And from this day forward, you will never be the same again. And so we arrive at the final moment, the point where decision meets destiny, where faith must rise above fear, where you stand face to face with the undeniable truth. You were never meant to remain where you are. The signs have been given. The stirring within you is not random. It is the divine call to something greater. The old life, the former version of you, is already fading. The only question that remains is, will you step forward? Because there comes a time when hesitation is no longer an option, a time when the waiting must end, a time when you must stop asking for another sign and start moving in faith. That time is now. This is not the end of something, it is the beginning of a life where you no longer chase after blessings, but walk in the certainty that they are already yours. A life where you no longer wait for opportunities, but create them. A life where you no longer shrink back, but step boldly into your divine calling. And so, take a deep breath and feel it. This is the moment of transformation. The door has been opened, the path has been cleared, and heaven is waiting for you to take the first step. Go now, not with fear, but with power, not with doubt, but with certainty, not as who you were, but as who you were always meant to be. For God has already moved, the shift has already begun, and from this moment forward, nothing will ever be the same again.